Hello, this is Al Go 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 Rhythm, filling in for
Rob at L Space Archives.
to show you what is trendy and cool in new book hauls. Today's book haul, we will begin with an anthology, Men on the Moon, edited by Donald A. Walheim. This book contains stories by Raymond Z. Galoon, A. Bertram Chandler, Frank M. Robinson, H.B. Fife, and Murray Leinster. Next is a historical novel by Philip Ketchum, Woman in Armor, a valiant Viking in battle, a passionate victim in love. From the back cover, two warriors, both Vikings, wild, proud, sharp-eyed, and swift, beautiful in the lean grace of their bodies. Each an accomplished swordsman, an expert archer, worthy opponents, but one was a man, the other a woman, a beautiful woman in armor. Astrid was fierce in her resolve never to assume the supine, subservient role of an ordinary woman in a man's world. Ragnar was equally determined to break through the gleaming gold of Astrid's battle armor and the cold steel of her resolution to find the true woman he was sure they protected. But first Ragnar had a war to wage. Astrid's father, Ivar, had usurped Ragnar's earldom, while Ragnar had been away fighting the hated Saxons. To vanquish the invader would be an almost hopeless job, for Ragnar had only a handful of followers and would have to give battle with a new and daring strategy. This would be a war of shadows, fought by a phantom army of invisible men, who would use bows and arrows with deadly skill to decimate Ivar's horde, and whose flaming torches would burn every one of the invader's ships. Victory, if it could be his, would restore Ragnar's rightful earldom. But what strategy then would serve him in the hate-love battle with the daughter of his enemy, the beautiful woman in armor? Next, we have 2 Years Before the Mast by Richard Henry Dana, Jr. In the year 1834, a young man, recently of Harvard, signed on as a common seaman aboard the brig Pilgrim for the perilous voyage around the Cape Horn to California. During the next 2 years, he was to realize the singular joys and almost incredible hardships of a sailor's lot. He recorded his experiences in a daily journal, and later gave them permanent form in one of the most vivid recreations of life at sea ever published. This is Double Treasure by Clarence Buddington Kelland, a men's adventure story. This book features a map back featuring the locale of a thrilling quest for pirate loot and hidden gold. This book was recommended by Deb, the omnivorous reader. It is Gordon R. Dixon's Alien Art. Their world was headed for disaster. Only one thing could save them. Next, we have a gothic novel, which features a woman running away from a castle with a single light on. Therefore, it is a gothic novel. This is The Deception by Cynthia Kavanaugh. A fantastic impersonation throws a lovely young American into a desperate intrigue of international espionage and romance. Now we have another anthology. This is Flashing Swords, number 4. Barbarians and Black Magicians, edited by Lynn Carter. This features stories by Jack Vance, Paul Anderson, John Jakes, Catherine Kurtz, and Michael Moorcock. It is the first time in print, and it is illustrated. This is The Nylon Pirates by Nicholas Montserrat, a shocking novel about confidence men and women on a luxury cruise. From the back, passage for the 5 of them had come to $26,042, but there were 295 other passengers aboard for the plucking, and each and every one of them was loaded. We have Carl, their leader, who considered confidence games of all kinds intellectual exercise and excelled at poker. Then there is Diane, who had been a successful call girl until Carl had taught her that there were much easier ways to extract money from men. And the professor, who lent the group dignity and, at 80, was writing a history of piracy whenever he found time to draw a sober breath. And Kathy, Carl's beautiful young mistress, who loved him more than was good for her or his pocketbook. And Louis, who was good-looking enough to appear boyish to older women and was an expert in sexual blackmail. Next is a movie tie-in edition of Island at the Top of the World by Ian Cameron. Ian Cameron also wrote The White Ship, which
Rob at L Space Archives.
also owns. Next, we have some Judge D mysteries. We learned about these from Nick at the Book Graveyard. and Jeff from Jeff's Cave of Cool Books. The first is The Lacquer Screen by Robert Van Gulik. Next is The Red Pavilion by Robert Van Gulik. And finally, The Willow Pattern by Robert Van Gulik. This book was seen by
Rob at L-Space Archives.
at a bookstore and kept going back and forth on whether to buy it or not. He did not buy it because he was trying to be a responsible adult. Then he saw Brian at Bad Taste Books with this same book, and Rob went back to the bookstore and bought it because Brian had taught him a very valuable lesson that being a grown-up is stupid. It is Secret Island by Jane Aiken Hodge. A lush utopian paradise is torn apart by violence and greed, and only Daphne's love can save it. This next book is a non-science fiction novel by John Brunner, The Great Steamboat Race, an epic novel of one of the most fabulous eras in a nation's history. This stunning work tells the breathtaking story of the last great race between the two most famous steamships ever to travel the Mississippi. Filled with charismatic men and women and bursting with all the color, suspense, treachery, and romance of a wonderful age. Here we have a hardback. It is The Adventures of the Stainless Steel Rat by Harry Harrison. This contains the first 3 books in the Stainless Steel Rat series. They are The Stainless Steel Rat, The Stainless Steel Rat's Revenge, and The Stainless Steel Rat Saves the World. Next is a novel by Thomas N. Scotia and Frank M. Robinson. It is The Gold Crew. This novel takes place on a submarine, where the crew is being psychologically tested to see whether or not they would press the button to launch nuclear missiles if ordered to do so. This is an 87th Precinct mystery. Ed McBain's Lady, Lady, I Did It. That is all of the books in this book haul. Please be sure to like, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share, read, recommend, and submit to the will of algorithm. Until next time, when your host,
Rob at L-Space Archives.
will return, we will see you. We will see everything you do. Nothing will escape us. Goodbye.